Just a quick look back at Tuesday night then, with that game against Wilston being postponed. Was that a disappointment in the end then?
I think, the general feeling was disappointment really, because we're on a good roll. And it's that thing of we're going to have to go down there on another Tuesday night where, at the minute we've got a pretty fit and healthy squad to choose from, and you never know what happens with weeks down the line. So that's disappointing, but I think sometimes things happen for a reason. The weather, I think, did turn worse in the afternoon. I was hearing there was all sorts of delays and protests on the M25, which was really causing carnage. So you never know. We might have got caught in that. We might have got there late, and sometimes things are just written in the stars, and sometimes it's meant to be. But at the time, we obviously would have all been in this position now doing this press conference with 3 more points in the bag, especially with Wrexham winning. But we can't do much about that. It was out of our hands in the end.
Were you able to do a bit of extra training, or was it just an afternoon off and a bit of rest?
No, so the boys reported here for 12 o'clock in the event that it was going to be on or off to travel or to train. We had a good hour and a half training session, got some good work into their legs, so it was another day, and the boys had yesterday off. So from the staff's point of view, all day yesterday and today so far, and tomorrow we'll be concentrating on Torquay.
So positives in that you managed to get some extra work on the training ground, and also I suppose it means that you haven't had to do 2 long trips in a couple of days.
Yeah, that's a big plus. The travelling's a big plus. You take the travelling if you're guaranteed the 3 points, but in football nothing's guaranteed. So hindsight's a great thing, but it was great. It's still not the same for those players who might have come in Tuesday night in terms of training as opposed to game time. Obviously, the fitness in your bank is a lot better and greater after a game than a training session. Now, no matter how hard you train them, it's still not the same as a game, but. Yeah, it was no way they were going to get 2 days off once the game was called off, and like you say, Liam, rightly so. At least we're going down to Torquay with just that one long travel in a week as opposed to 2.
Did you have one eye on the midweek results on Tuesday?
Yeah, both eyes. I watched the Southend Notts County one. I thought it was a really good game. If you look at the form guide, there's a lot of teams up there, including ourselves, where the form is green, with the odd little red here and there, but. Southend being one of them, Woking being one of them. Wrexham, obviously, Notts County. It's going to be a long season. It isn't just a 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 horse race. I think there's going to be a lot of teams involved in it. Southend showed that how strong they are at home. They kept going after after falling behind twice, and then Wrexham obviously going to steamroll Scunthorpe the other night. So it's going to be tough. You look at other teams like Bromley having a bit of a bad time. They've gone from sort of 4th and 5th down to 10th, 11th. So. It's like that bad week we had. It only takes a bad week and things can change for all the teams in this league.
Yeah, it's fascinating how it's sort of shaping up. Sort of, the games are coming thick and fast as we approach the Christmas period. Do you see this, like you say, do you see someone running away with it, or do you think it's going to go right to the wire?
I think a team runs away with it if the other teams all drop off. That sounds a bit, stating the obvious, but... I think there's always one team who's going to keep winning, but if there's 2 or 3 teams that keep winning, obviously it turns it into a longer race. I always think post-Christmas is the time where you can really tell what's going on. Obviously towards the end of the season it can change dramatically, but usually sort of January and February are the times where the table looks like how it's going to finish up. Those 3 or 4 at the top usually stay like that, but in different orders. So we've got to make sure that we're in that top 3 or 4 right to the end, so we can push for that first place. And if not, we have to try our best to finish 2nd and 3rd.
Torquay on Saturday, and are you a little bit surprised that they're down there this season?
Yes, I think so. I think that they've gone from playoff finalists, and last year was okay for them, and this year has been really poor in terms of their results. But Gary Johnson's a wily old fox who's been around this game a long time and knows how to put winning teams together. I think they're traditionally slow starters in the division, but this year obviously by their own admission, I'm sure they're starting and carrying on to start a lot slower than they'd hoped. They've got a replay on the Tuesday after us, and we'd like to think they've got one eye on that, but I'm sure Gary and his staff won't let them take the foot off the gas, because sooner or later they'll be aiming to get off the foot of the table.
Yeah, they've been struggling down there this season, although they seem to maybe have just started to turn a little corner. A 3-3 draw against Dorking last night. What have you made of from what you've seen of them?
or they can come back. You know, they did showed that against Derby, and they showed it the other night. They don't give up, and that's what I think causes a lot of crazy results in this league, because teams don't throw the towel in. They just keep going, and whether that's just a lack of pressure when you're 3-1 down to go, let's just go for it, and if we lose 4, we lose 4. But they can come back. You know, that I'm sure that in their own camp they're saying they concede too many goals. That seems to be the case, but that doesn't mean anything if we don't turn up and punish the chances we get. You know, if we turn up and defend sloppily, they'll beat us. If we turn up and don't pass the ball, we'll lose. Like any game in this league, if we turn up, I'm fully confident we get the win. So we've got an eye on Torquay. We know their strengths and what we think are their weaknesses, and I'm sure they're doing the same with us. But like I always say, it is about us, and if we turn up, I'm hoping it'll be a good day.
What type of game are you expecting down there? Do you think it'll be a footballing game, physical battle? What do you expect?
A bit of both. I think they're a physically strong team. I think we're completely different towards the end of last season. I think we'll be a lot better than we were, which isn't saying much, but I think we'll be a lot better than we were. Last year the sun was shining. We had so many supporters down there. I don't know if it was a bank holiday weekend or not, I can't remember, but it was a real buzzy weekend around the town. The Friday night, all our fans were down there. The pitch was lovely, and they were going okay at that time, Torquay. And this year, they're not doing so well. We're doing a lot better. It's going to be a bit windy and rainy, the pitch, so it'll be a completely different type of game. But, to get out this league and to go and do things, you have to win all types of games. And I think that's what's been good this year. We've dealt with long ball teams. It's a bit disrespectful, but direct teams, and we've dealt with the more footballing teams, and we're sitting in a nice position in the league. But we know there's a long way to go and a lot of points to be battled for.
And how's the health of the squad looking ahead of this one?
Very good. Yeah, very good. I think the only one we've had so far this week is, I think Lucas is feeling a bit under the weather today, but obviously he's injured anyway. So Ollie Banks is definitely a no, obviously for a few more weeks. But no, in terms of over the week's training and any reporting injuries, we're absolutely fully fit.
That must be a massive plus then, and competition for places is really high at the moment.
Yes, it is, and like I said before about Kiggy's getting a lot of rave reviews at the moment, and rightly so. But that's, in my opinion, largely to do with Raheem being waiting in the wings for his chance. Someone who knows this league very well, is very successful at Maidenhead, playing every week, and he's pushing Jeff every day in training, by the way. And on match days, Jeff knows if he's not on his game, then Raheem's there to potentially take his place. And I think that's the same all over the pitch. We've got Joe Quigley and Cabs. No one knows between them two which one's going to play each game, and it's great really to keep the lads guessing. So all week they know they've got to be on it to give the manager a headache.
It's no secret that the manager's always looking to see if he can add to the squad. Is there anything sort of whirring away in the background there?
A few things, I suppose. I can't really, name names, but there's always a few things that you're looking at and a few players you're sort of keeping your eye on. Obviously, it'd be disrespectful to those teams to mention them, but at the minute it's very difficult to move away from the players that are giving it their all for us. I think it's fair that they keep getting a crack at the whip, and what's nice, we have got competition in all areas. I know Joe Cook's gone out on loan, but you've still got Lawrence Maguire, who's highly experienced at this level, to keep Grimesy and Tyrone on their toes. So all over the pitch, I don't think there's anyone who really takes their place for granted. But yeah, of course, Liam, we're always aware of players we could potentially get in. But at the minute, I think we're happy and taking it each game as it comes with the players we've got.
Could anything happen before the weekend?
No, I wouldn't have thought so, mate. I think we're training a bit later today, and then we're in very early tomorrow for a long journey down there. So I don't think anything would happen before then.